This is not a travel vlog. This is a film about my life in Japan and the connections I made 6,000 miles away from home. Over the course of a month, I stayed with a Japanese family who were complete strangers to me. This trip changed me from a scared boy to someone who yearns to travel to every corner of the earth. But let's rewind the clock. Exactly 1 year ago at the time of filming, I was on my way to Japan. 42.7 million people visited Japan in 2025, and while one random boy going on a trip to Japan was nothing special in the grand scheme of things, it genuinely changed me as a person. I want to be open with my words in this video since this is a very personal video for me, and I want this to be more of a story rather than just a travel vlog. So let's start at the beginning. Growing up, I was born in a small town in the state of South Carolina, which is located here on a map if you didn't know. I grew up in a happy home with a connected family. I'm the oldest of 9 kids, and having so many siblings brought its fair share of stress and challenges. But I really admire my parents for how much they sacrificed to raise us, even when family and many people in the community had negative things to say about my parents' decision to have so many kids. Most of my childhood, I would say I was a pretty normal kid until it came to nighttime, which it was almost impossible for me to go to sleep. I had horrible insomnia. From as early as I can remember until I was about 13 years old, I struggled with falling asleep. I had fears of not being able to fall asleep, which just made sleep even harder, and it was a continuous cycle of fear, stress, and long nights. What this comes from, I'm not too sure. It could be stress or anxiety, but as I moved into my teenage years, I began to have opportunities to stay the night at other places. Sadly, in the end, my anxiety would always win because I could not physically stand to be away from home. It got so bad to the point I couldn't even stay the night at my cousin's house, who literally lived right around the corner from me. But slowly, over time, I worked through this and wanted to live a life not held back by thoughts in my head. At 14 years old, I went to a summer camp and stayed a week away from home. That was a huge challenge for me, but after, I was glad I did it. And in my mind, I kind of defeated these irrational fears I had for years. Fast forward a year later, at 15 years old, I saw a video on YouTube about a boy who was a few years older than me who had lived abroad in Europe alone through a foreign exchange student program. This really surprised me because as far as I was aware, study abroad programs were only available to people coming to the US, not leaving from it. So this really surprised me when I saw it was for American students. And after watching that video, a thought was planted into my mind that I would not be able to get rid of. I wanted to leave my town, my state, my country, and live on the complete opposite side of the world alone for an extended period of time. I wasn't sure what country I wanted to go to yet, but my mind was made up. I told my parents soon after having this thought, and they gave me permission to go. But in hindsight, they probably only ever said yes to be supportive, and probably did not really think I would follow through with this idea. Because you know how it is when you're younger, you say all these things you're gonna do and then you never actually do them. But over the next 6 months, I researched so many countries online, trying to decide which place I wanted to live away from home. Countries such as Germany, Hong Kong, Spain, France, and Japan came to mind. But I finally made up my mind. I wanted to live in Japan. This is partly because I found the language the most interesting compared to other countries I was looking into, and I was just interested in Asian culture in general. China, in particular, always interested me as a kid. The food, the mountains, the bamboo, the animals, and the language that people spoke just felt like a completely different planet to me. In the end, I decided to pick Japan over China, mainly due to there being more study abroad programs available for Japan compared to China. After having my heart set on Japan, I spent the next 2 years of my life studying Japanese completely alone. And starting out, I thought this was going to be pretty easy because I had this mentality that Chinese and Japanese, they use pictures for their language, so that makes it way easier than words. Boy, was I frickin' wrong. Honestly, it feels like I'm the only person in my small town who has ever learned any amount of Japanese, and probably one of the only few in my state, honestly. I wish so badly back then that I would have been able to find a community of Japanese learners and speakers to practice with, because that would increase my learning speed so much. But until I found someone to practice speaking with, I spent hours a day for weeks, months, and years learning a language that was practically useless where I lived. And in the end, I did all this just for one goal I wanted to see through. And while I didn't have all the details figured out in the beginning, especially the financial aspect, I knew it would work out in the end. And in December 2024, I got an email about the program I applied to saying I got accepted and also received a scholarship that covered about 90% of the program's cost. And with the news of getting accepted, I began to study even harder on Japanese, knowing in only 6 months I would be on a 16-hour flight alone to the other side of the world. And then fast forward again to the week I was leaving, I said goodbye to all my little siblings, and my parents dropped me off at the airport. Hugging my mom that last time didn't even feel real. She was crying, but I could also see how proud she was in her eyes, and thinking back to that moment still kind of makes me tear up a little bit. And just hearing how proud my parents were of me meant more than anything in the world. And then after this, I walked through the gate at the airport, and in only a few minutes, I was completely alone in the world. I went through airport security for the first time alone, which was very scary because you've seen the videos. People in the Atlanta airport are not the nicest.
If you got a hoodie on, take it off! Take it off!
But after 16 hours of listening to music and falling in and out of sleep, I finally landed in Japan, 6,978 miles away from home.
If you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles.
When I got out of the plane, it really hit me. My SIM card wasn't set up on my phone. I had no one I knew with me on the flight, and I had no idea how to go through immigration in a foreign country. When I walked out of the airport, all I saw was Japanese signs and people speaking in a language I only somewhat understood. Thankfully, the people in the airport were nice enough to help me out because Japanese people are the goats, and I was able to make it through immigration. And finally, after years, I had made it to Japan. That first night in Japan, after making it to my hotel, I felt so deeply sick. Mostly due to anxiety and the time change, but I kept telling myself, this is something you really wanted to do for years. You're going to see it to the end. But I will say after that first night, things did get a lot easier, but in the beginning, I was regretting everything. But moving into the first week of the program, we got to meet our host family, who we would be spending the next month with. Some of us also had a roommate too. Mine was another boy in the program named Eli, and he was from Texas. It was also nice because we could help translate things for each other, because he knew a little more. Getting into the actual content of the program, it was mostly focused on language and culture. So during the day, me and the other American high schoolers would have Japanese class and learn vocabulary, grammar, and so on. After that, we'd be pretty much free to go wherever in the city of Kyoto. Oftentimes though, after lunch in the afternoon, we would have a cultural activity that we would go to together in groups. One day it was matcha tea making, another day it was sumo wrestling, another day it was cooking, and it was all just so cool, and the program really made an effort to pack in as many experiences as possible. Out of all the cultural activities we did, my favorite by far would have to be visiting other Japanese high schools in the area. This gave us a chance to make friends with local high schoolers and see what class was like all the way in Japan. Everyone I met at those schools were just as interested to learn about America as I was interested to learn about Japan. One of my favorite memories from the Japanese high school was one day when I was in class as the only American student, and a group of dudes came up to me and started talking in super fast Japanese. I was like, oh shoot, they're trying to like quiz me, see what this white boy knows about Japanese. So I tried to say some stuff back to them, but they were laughing at my accent. Like, I know bro, I know, I'm a boy from the country, my accent is gonna sound chopped. But I couldn't let these little skinny punks get the best of me, but that's when my golden opportunity finally arose. One of the boys in the group mentioned doing an arm wrestling competition, and in this moment, I knew I just hit the jackpot. I saw the group leader's little noodle boy arms, and I knew I could take him down so easily. So we sat down at a desk and started, and within like 5 seconds, I got him. But after losing, the group leader was still salty, and he wanted a rematch but with my non-dominant hand. And guess what? That changed nothing. I won again in like 3 seconds. And that junk was so satisfying, let me tell you, because it shut him up so quickly. Thankfully, a simple arm wrestle was enough for me to gain the respect of the dudes in the class. And yeah, everything went pretty well after that. Other than that, no real drama happened at these schools, and I met a lot of really chill people there that made me realize that people my age aren't really that different, even if we are from opposite sides of the world. And in those moments, I kind of forgot how far away I was from home, and it just made me want to travel so much more, experience all these other countries, see what life is like for people my age in different parts of the world. Moreover, this program also gave us a really nice perspective on average Japanese life, with us commuting alone to school and back home. So let me tell you my basic route. I would wake up in the morning at my host family's house in Osaka, Japan, and walk about 5 minutes to the bus stop. From there, when the bus arrived, I would ride for about 10 minutes to the train station and scan my little card and head up to the platform. Once the train got there, that's where the fun part happened. Finding a spot on that super tight, packed train. You think you've been in a packed place, you've been in like a pit at a concert or something? Think about that, but times it by a freaking million. And yeah, just look at this video me and Eli took one day. It was absolutely insane. But once on the train, I would ride for about 45 minutes to Kyoto and head into my school, which was right above the train station, and it also had a Pokemon Center next to it. I never really got too annoyed by this route though, other than it being a little packed, because it was efficient and gave me time to study Japanese, listen to music, or watch YouTube. Another great part of this program was just how chill and outgoing everyone was. Me and a big group of the other Americans in the program would go do karaoke during our free time. It was cheap because we all split the cost and we could just all pile in and sing the American songs, and it felt like we were back at home. Alright, the gang, we're up here.
Yo, we up here. There's a couple making it.
Alright guys, we're about to go on the Shinkansen. It's gonna be crazy. Alright, we're going guys. I made this for my boy Austin. Alright guys, we all got a Coolish, the greatest snack in all of Japan. Coolish. Another Coolish. Alright guys, we're at the park right now.
Yo, what's up?
We're about to get to the park right now. Playing games with the kids. Play dodgeball.
He was playing with the kids.
And we won, obviously, because we're just Americans. And we're good. We're good at playing games. No, we got destroyed. Me and Austin, though, we carried the whole time. And this also reminds me of one of the coolest people I met in the program, the GOAT, Austin. And yeah, I'll never forget that dude. He really was the GOAT. My girlfriend does hate him because I wouldn't shut up about him during my trip. So yeah, sorry Austin, you're not on our good side. But yeah, he was just a really chill guy. We would also all go on trips together, such as weekend trips to Hiroshima and Nara. Hiroshima in particular, I talked about a good bit in my last Japan video. And I'm gonna be honest, the city of Hiroshima was kind of boring apart from the history that was there. And that's not just my opinion. Some of the university students I met there told me themselves that this was the boringest place they've ever been to in Japan. But by far the best part of the Hiroshima trip was visiting Miyajima Island. This place is freaking awesome. We took a boat to get there and everything felt like I was on some Survivor island. And this island is also famous for this torii gate, which is submerged in most of the pictures you see online. But the time of year we visited, the ground was all dried up and you could walk right up to the gate and like kiss it for good luck or something. The next trip we went on was a day trip to Nara, and this may be a little more memorable in my opinion. Obviously this place is known for all the deer, and yeah, it was pretty fun playing with them, even though they hated me. But one of the spots in Nara me and my friends hit up, which was the highlight of this whole day, was this giant grass hill looking like a darn Windows wallpaper. And it may not look like it, but man, this was a challenging climb, especially because of how hot it was. It had to been over 100 degrees. It was insane. And on this particular day, even though it was so hot, my dumb self wore a black shirt, so I was extra hot and sunburnt. Austin, you lucky dog, you didn't have to struggle with any of the sun burning. But once we got to the top of the hill, the view was amazing. We had deer just roaming around us, and you could see the whole city from up there. I literally still see this day so clearly in my mind. I feel the heat, I see the view, and holy crap, it makes me feel so thirsty every time I remember this day. But another part of the Nara trip was visiting this absolutely massive Buddha statue in this temple. This dude is so big, multiple people can fit inside the palm of his hands, and I think it was also in a Dr. Stone episode. Oh yeah, and here's a video of Austin trying to fit through Buddha's nose for good luck. And the last little part of this Nara trip was visiting this old palace, and it felt so surreal to see this several hundred-year-old buildings right in front of me. And I'm just so thankful for how hands-off this program was at times. If you knew a decent amount of Japanese, they would kind of let you just go off on your own, wherever, as long as you met back up for the bus ride home. This is probably because they know Japan is safe, and we're all like 17 to 18 years old. But just between you and me, there were days I went off completely alone by myself, like no friends or anybody, and just wandered the streets on my own. All right, guys, I'm in Osaka right now. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Way better than Kyoto in my opinion. And we got fake Burger King behind me right here. Very cool. And they got this big old billboard. They got the Foo Fighters. What the heck? It's pretty cool out here. Moving on to our second to last week in Japan, our host family took me and Eli on a day trip to the most popular places in Osaka, Japan. Firstly, we visited Osaka Castle in the morning. Even crazier, you can actually go inside of it and climb all the way to the top. This is definitely one of those historical places I assume nobody was allowed inside of, but nah, they got a whole gift shop at the top of the 440-year-old castle. After that, our host family took us to go eat Osaka-style okonomiyaki, and if you've never had this food before, man, I'm sorry, but you're missing out. Words cannot describe this Japanese delicacy. It's so freaking good. Just go to Japan and try it. After eating, we went to my favorite place of the day, the aquarium or the Suizokukan. Out of all the words I forget in Japanese, I have no idea why I remember that word. But this aquarium was actually the biggest in the world when it opened in 1990, but today it's about the 9th biggest in the world, getting beat out by China and the UAE. Yeah, but don't underestimate this place. It was insane. It was like 10 floors, and we spent probably 3 or 4 hours walking around the whole thing. After the Osaka trip, the next day after class, I went off by myself and explored more of the Kyoto area. Don't get me wrong, I like being with my friends and stuff, but I also like the feeling of solo traveling like I mentioned before, and wanted to feel more of that in Japan. So I went to the store called Don Quixote, this mega store that sells everything, and of course they even got a freaky section. I also stopped by a Book Off, which is a goated second-hand store that sells all kinds of manga, video games, collectibles, and even clothes at this specific location. One of the best things I picked up on this side quest was a one-piece Ace shirt that I wear all the time now. And when it got a bit later in the day, I went back home alone, rode the quiet train, and walked through the park back to my host family's house. Right by the train station, there's also this takoyaki place, and I got some of those and ate it at the park. Moments like this made me really appreciate this town I was in for how much it was in touch with nature. A lot of cities in America are not as walkable and definitely do not have as many safe parks as Japan had. Not trying to glaze Japan because yes, it has its problems, but from what I experienced from my month there, it seems like a pretty chill place to grow up and live life. Sadly though, before I knew it, it was my final few days in Japan. Me and my roommate spent our last few days hanging out together, exploring some last minute places in Osaka, and trying to get in all the experiences that we could. But now, it was our last day staying with our host family, and as this taxi pulled up to take us to the station, we said our final goodbyes to our host family. Dang bro, I still remember this day like it was yesterday. It was so sad. The kids were crying. Everyone gave me and Eli a hug, and it was just so hard to go, even though 1 month ago, we never even knew each other. Moments like this are really what makes me happy to be alive and gives me that drive to explore more of the world and have more connections with people everywhere I go. Not only did I have to say goodbye to my host family, but I also had to say goodbye to all the friends I made in the program. People like Eli, Austin, and Liam. Oh yeah, and my boy Thomas, I didn't forget about you. Were really awesome people that made being in a foreign country way less intimidating. We had so many jokes and laughs, so thank you guys for that. Looking back at this trip, over over a year later makes me feel so fulfilled. I did something I dreamed about for years and did not let some voice in my head stop me from doing it. I use this success as motivation for future ventures in my life, such as starting a business, getting married, going through nursing school, and hopefully a lot more trips over the next few years. But yeah, I took that final trip home next to a screaming baby in the back of a plane, and 18 hours later, I landed in Atlanta, Georgia, and got picked up by my dad and 2 friends who surprised me since I hadn't seen them in months. My friends back at home were so awesome, bro. They made me a whole video while I was gone to recap me on everything I missed in our friend group. Yeah, this video is so stupid. It made me laugh so much. Here's some of the cool parts of the video. But back at home, going back to my daily life, felt kind of boring compared to the exciting life I had in Japan. But I realized that wherever I live in the world, this feeling will eventually reach me, and I should instead be happy and content with the life I have, while also reaching for new experiences within reason. Alright guys, I made it back to America now, hanging with the Jazz Man. That's it for this vlog today. Thank you for watching my journey to Japan. It was a long one, but it was amazing. I'd do it again. But I'm happy to be back with Jazz, man. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's enough of Motivational Thomas for now. I think I'm going to end this journey off here. The next trip on my list is a solo trip to China, so hopefully I will make it to that one. Thank you for sitting here and listening to me talk about the best trip of my life. If you're interested in doing something similar, I couldn't recommend it enough. The program I went with was called CIEE, and they have a referral program for those who are alumni of CIEE. So if you use my link at the top of the description, you'll get $200 off your program, and I get $200 as well at no cost to you. So yeah, definitely go through them if you want to study abroad in Japan or any of their many other destinations. But that's it for this video. I love you guys.